It is very strange that when I read for the first time Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky, I kind of got really surprised. And then I followed it up with The Brothers Karamazov. And then I smiled. Kind of, it's a sad smile. The reason I smiled is because I thought, how the hell he knew my life? Well, yes, that how kind of screwed up my life have been until I met my then girlfriend and married to her. And I told to myself that this is a unicorn and I'm going to lock it up and throw the keys away. Jokes on the side, she's doing very well, by the way. Thanks for asking. Now, this story is about my kind of dysfunctional childhood. And frankly, for a long period of time, I thought everything happened in my family was, okay, not normal. It could have been better, but considering the social economy and culture in Indian subcontinent and Bangladesh, where I'm from, I thought, well, it could have been worse because I've seen worse happen to somebody else. Let's get to the story, shall we? Because I'm just giving you introduction and you're probably already bored, so I apologize. Everything started after my father's death a few years ago. And then I was at the time in France and my father was in Bangladesh. So you can imagine dealing with it from distance, the guilty feeling of not being able to help my family, watching the whole thing via video, so on and so forth. All the details of everything, it's just painful. And then I had to go deal with it by flying all the way there and then doing my social responsibility, as everybody says. And then, if that was not enough, the year after, my normal looking boss, which I later realized that he probably has a lot of mental disorder, such as, I don't know, bipolar, and probably he is traumatized in his life, like big time, that I realized that he is severely insecure and does not forget about any single critic, which is probably not even a critic. And you probably have forgotten about it because it was 6 freaking months ago. But he will get back to you. So things got worse. I got convoked. Ship went down the hill. I could not leave because of many things. Because they say that you should leave if you don't like your job. Tell that to the people who cannot find a job afterward. Assholes. And then that's not enough. Then, I thought I should become a father because a kid will change my life. Well, it did all right. She is the most beautiful thing ever happened to our life. And it still is, luckily. Probably the best decision I have made in my life after marrying my wife. I'm sure she is listening. But that comes with a lot of things, as you know already. Those especially who are parents, the fatigue, the late nights and all that. You name it, everything happened. But that's normal, right? But it gets horrendously, painfully depressing and sickening when you also have to deal with your father's death and his affair that you have to deal from distance, and you cannot do a damn thing because you are far. And back in your family, your mother, she has another problem because she has lost a husband. And my father was dealing with it, all the family affairs, all his life. So she was the one that basically used to be one of those typical housewives that complains and screams and taking care of the kids. Then you have your siblings, then they have their point of view that you have to kind of maintain the balance to keep everyone happy, or at least keep them together so that your mother doesn't become alone. Then at home you have a boss that doesn't want to talk to you anymore, and then constantly making comments whatever way possible to not to make yourself feel good about it, and then you have a baby at home afterward. So, yay, fun times. Things went down the hill, my back pain, my knee pain, oh yeah, I have pain everywhere. And my doctor once told me all of a sudden that, my friend, I think you are depressed, like big time. There's your antidepressant, and in the meantime, try to find an appointment in the hospital. So this is where I start taking antidepressant, which is about 8 months now. And 3 months later, I found an appointment where I started to learn about literally everything, and it opened the door for me, something that I did not know that exists. So I told my therapist about my kind of stressful childhood, the fight between my parents, which is kind of normal in this culture. You know, if you ask any Indian family, trust me, and or if you don't believe me, just watch a Bollywood movie or TV serial. Drama is basically the next big religion after Hindu. So that's that. In the meantime, I had a neighbor who really liked me, who let me have books, but he didn't let me take it at home. He let me read the book at his room while he was taking advantage of me. And I couldn't do anything because my father thought buying a book is a waste of money, and telling them about what he did would add more problem on top of whatever going on. My mom gonna say, see, what happened is your fault. My dad gonna say, you see, you couldn't take care of your kids, and it's just gonna go worse. So I decided to not just talk about it. By the way, he did it for almost more than a year, at least once a week. And every time there is a big crisis between my parents, I was there. So I had to deal with everything. I had to become an adult. I had to kind of make sure that everything is going properly. I don't know how, but I tried. In the meantime, I was not doing very well academically in the school. Now I know why. You know, it could be ADHD, could be trauma, could be dissociation, or could be basically freaking all of it. So that wasn't helping. My mom's frustration against my dad. By the way, in Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, anywhere in Indian subcontinent, the wife, at least back in the day, 20 to 30 years ago, did not have much of a say. And if that's not enough, the wife's own parent would blame the woman for not being a good wife. So, and my mom was ambitious, always been ambitious. So she couldn't get what she wanted, and that's unfair. She was forcefully married, and the marriage was not love, it's lust. The result, she couldn't help herself but taking all her frustration on me. And by the way, she was traumatized herself by entire family. If not marriage was not enough, my father was not the best husband either. He was never abusive physically, but he was too much into his own family. And his own family, to be honest, were not very educated, very old school, and believes in thousands of ritual, which is, boy oh boy, you'd be surprised. So she went from really up class society to a hole. So you would imagine what was going through at the time. And she accumulated a mega frustration in her body. And by the way, don't forget, I learned now that you may forget your bad memories, but your body won't. And I was conceived, so you would imagine that I took some of it. Afterward, probably I heard so many stories of fight between my uncle and my mom, and then my mom and my dad, and I was in between, and I was a baby. For them, it's like baby's a baby. They don't understand what's going on. Well, I do. And then it got worse and worse and worse. I don't remember a single month where I didn't have a new drama at home for whatever reason. And at the time, we didn't have water at home. So I had to go all the way to a street which is about 300 meters from our home with buckets to fill up water from the street and do back and forth all the time. And I was a skinny guy, and I was between 12 to 16 because we did for a long time, at least as long as I remember. What I decided that I'm just going to get out of this country, so I came to Australia. But I thought that was done. Thing is, that never ended because you always communicate with them on phone, and all you hear is that what your mom will tell you what your dad did, your dad will tell you what your mom did, and I would never call them at the same time. I had to call them differently. So you imagine 1 hour or 2 hours of therapy from them was not fun. So I kind of already stressed while I was calling them. My mom, she tried her best for me, but she didn't realize that amount of damage she did to me. And same goes to my dad. And I started to realize the bigger picture, which is, in the end, I think we, the kids, especially the first one, were a product of their dream. So my dad has some dream that she didn't or couldn't do, that she wanted me to be a part of him. And my mom definitely wanted me to be something that she couldn't do. Game, culture, debate, be the best on each subject, and I failed on all of it. So, and nobody realized what I was going through at the time and the amount of weight on top of me, the pressure. I ran away from home. I tried to escape. I stole money from and a lot more things just to get some attention, probably. Now that I'm thinking back, I guess so. Boy, my mom used to smack my ass like no tomorrow. I still remember. So I came to believe that both my mom and my dad loved me, but not 100% for my own good, is because they wanted me to be them, a part of them. They just wanted to have an ally beside them. Not a son, not a child. They wanted a friend, an ally that say yes to everything they say. And problem is that they are exact polar opposites. So I kind of frustrated when I was between them. And emotional development and emotional intelligence do not exist in that culture, and especially not in my family. So between them, the conversation was always what good or bad I did on the day, not that how I'm feeling. Am I feeling good? Am I feeling bad? What was going on in the school? Well, I wish that things were even 10% better, but I'm going to do the things that I didn't have for my child, my daughter, because she and every single child deserve a good childhood. And listen, life is not going to be the best, and you are never going to get out of this life without scars, but at least you should provide the best from the family, and then let the world take care of the rest. You cannot control the world, but you can control your own family, right? And I couldn't control anything for at least my first 19 years. My psychologist told me to have a conversation with my younger selves, my 17 years old self, my 10 years old self, and the part of me that went through hell. I'm scared, and it's not over yet because I still have to go through everything today because my mom is still there. And I think she realized that I'm becoming more educated in terms of understanding her. And I think she's scared and she has some guilty feeling, but at the same time she's still some sort of narcissist. And by the way, in my mom's defense, she went through trauma and abuse for all her life as well. So I learned today that you develop a lot of defense mechanism when you go through that. You become narcissist, you have different personalities, you become big and empty all at once. And Your humor changes just like blink of an eye, and you never know when. And my dad, that guy was brainwashed from the time he was born by my grandfather, that little asshole, because he was an asshole. And my dad became practically a slave who's supposed to make more money and then feed the entire village. So that guy didn't even had a chance to learn anything about family. So my mom didn't have anything to educate my dad. You imagine a guy who is brainwashed all his life, tortured all his life, and finally he became powerful enough to feed the village. Problem is that now he wants to show the whole village that he is something special. Problem is that he forgot his family with a huge stubborn ego. That's a bad mix. So at home I had the South Pole and North Pole. They don't mix together. I was in the middle. So I took the most of the hit, I guess. My sister also was a silent sponge. I know it now because she doesn't talk to me anymore. And my brother kind of escaped. I would say that he can make big decisions. It took me 40 years almost to take an independent decision without any fear. 40 years. Now, God knows how many disorders that I have, but at least I'm well educated, so I'm not going to punch someone in the face because I know that that's not that person. That's my past that's still haunting me. At least my body doesn't forget. Those drug abuse, alcohol, I don't even remember the many part of my life. The worst part, when I talk about all these bad memories, I feel like one, either I'm lying, two, I'm talking about somebody else. That's not normal. But sometimes I do get emotional, and my psychologist said that I'm probably going to the right direction because I'm feeling emotion, and that's her job. I say it sucks because now, thanks to the therapy, my sleep got worse and I have old memories coming back. Super. So that's my dysfunctional childhood and family in a nutshell. And I probably have a lot of problem in my body that will cause me fatal trouble down the line, from the cardiac arrest to stroke or Alzheimer or dementia. I already have ADHD and chronic anxiety and depression, that's for sure. God knows what else. But one thing I know for sure, I learned a lot. I had to pay a big price, but I learned a lot. Anyway, anyone out there who is going through or went through this type of crap, I'm with you. I understand you. At least you have a friend thinking of you.